on Paramount+, the streaming haven of conservative series where Taylor Sheridan has reigned supreme in recent years, the mastermind behind Landman, Yellowstone, its spin-offs, and many other shows, and where unapologetically masculine content is a hallmark, there's been a new addition. Guy Ritchie, alongside his colleagues and friends, has released a new series, MobLand, set in modern-day London, a city that honors tradition while crafting a new criminal capital of the world. Despite Ritchie's involvement as both producer and director of the first 2 episodes, MobLand is the brainchild of a writing duo. Ronan Bennett, screenwriter of The Day of the Jackal and Public Enemies, and Jez Butterworth, one of the creators behind Ford vs. Ferrari and Spectre. It's a promising partnership, given both writers' extensive experience in spy thrillers about agents and their missions, as well as their deep dives into the shadowy corners of the criminal underworld. Fans of the genre were thrilled with the release of this gritty crime thriller by the renowned British filmmaker. Premiering on Paramount+, the intense series racked up over 2 million views on its first day and an impressive 9.7 million total across social media, a record-breaking debut for the streaming platform. For decades, the English director has built a stellar reputation with numerous gangster-themed films and shows, including cult classics like Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, Revolver, and The Gentleman. Initially envisioned by Guy Ritchie as a spin-off of Ray Donovan, the project of MobLand ultimately evolved into a standalone story. Filming kicked off in November 2024, with locations spanning London and the Cotswolds, a picturesque English region that serves as the home of the protagonist's family in the series. Fans of Ritchie's work are likely to enjoy the show, as evidenced by its 79% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes and an 8.2 score on IMDb, though, let's be honest, those ratings are definitely up for debate. The project boasts a star-studded cast that's impressive even by modern streaming standards. Taking on the role of Conrad Harrigan, the patriarch of a mafia clan, is retired Irish James Bond Pierce Brosnan. In what might be the darkest and most ruthless role of his career, Brosnan brings chilling menace to the screen. Playing his wife, Maeve Harrigan, is the legendary Helen Mirren. The English actress portrays Maeve as cold as a mountain stream, an authoritative and ruthless partner who manipulates her husband and sons with the precision of a modern-day Lady Macbeth. Tom Hardy steps into the role of Harry D'Souza, a longtime associate of the Harrigan family, tasked with handling their most delicate operations. Supporting roles are filled by a roster of lesser-known but skilled English actors. At the heart of the story is Harry, the Harrigans' go-to fixer. He's drawn into a brutal power struggle between rival families and faces a tough decision about whose side he'll ultimately take. Harry's job is to clean up the family's messes while juggling personal struggles with his wife Jan and daughter Gina. The series delves into more than just London's cutthroat criminal underworld. It also explores the dynamics within its central characters. Here, the gangster's wife is just as involved in the family's operations, sharing in the pivotal decisions of their criminal enterprise. The setup is as timeless as it gets. 2 rival crime families in London are locked in a battle for supremacy. Irish boss Conrad Harrigan and his clan dominate the arms trade and some drugs, but are hungry for more. They set their sights on the prospective and trendy fentanyl trade, a market controlled by their longtime enemy Richie Stevenson, played by Jeff Bell from Rock'n'Rolla, the leader of South London's gang. The families maintain a tense truce, but it's clear the situation is a powder keg waiting for a spark. The showrunners provide just that spark with a seemingly innocent meeting between Conrad's reckless grandson, Eddie, and Richie's timid son, Tommy. Like modern-day British Romeos without any Juliets to complicate things, the two spend their time partying in pubs and clubs. However, the fun takes a dark turn when Eddie stabs a random guy over a dispute on the dance floor. Conrad sends Harry to clean up the mess, and while the fixer manages to handle the situation in the opening episodes, it's clear his work is far from done. Meanwhile, Tommy fails to return home after the wild night, leading Richie Stevenson to accuse the Harrigans of kidnapping his son, a spark that ignites a bloody war for control of the city. The world of MobLand is teeming with characters. Just listing the members of the Harrigan clan would take a while. This sprawling ensemble holds great potential, especially for gradual eliminations as the story unfolds. The pilot episodes already weave a web of plotlines. Harry must not only shield the Harrigans in their conflict with Stevensons, but also navigate the family's internal tensions with Conrad, Maeve, and their temperamental offspring, all while attending psychotherapy sessions with wife and working on his personal growth. The series promises 9 intense episodes filled with intricate storylines. Bennett and the other screenwriters lay the groundwork early, scattering clues throughout the pilot episodes to build a richly layered narrative. The hallmark style of Guy Ritchie, hurricane-like mix that blends British aristocracy with the working class, signature posh and cockney accents, sharp-witted gangsters and bumbling fools, pomp and irony, is barely present in MobLand. Sure, you can catch glimpses of Ritchie's touch in Harry D'Souza's sly and slightly comedic threats, reminiscent of Ray Smith from The Gentleman. And Conrad Harrigan, the totally stylish patriarch residing in the Cotswolds, flaunts aristocratic airs akin to Mickey Pearson. But the show's slow-paced, deliberate tone and over-seriousness lack the punch of Ritchie's 5 years ago box office hit, which charmed audiences with its biting satire and darkly comedic take on crime. That 2019 film followed an American gangster who built a marijuana empire in Britain and decided to sell his business ahead of a potential legalization wave. As it would be challenging with his reputation, he sought buyers skilled in above-board commerce. The movie was a masterclass in early Ritchie style, expertly paced with frenetic cuts, razor-sharp dialogue, and pitch-black humor, often delightfully and unapologetically politically incorrect. Netflix's spin-off series, also titled The Gentleman, tried to replicate the film's core concepts. Ritchie wrote and directed the first 2 episodes, infusing them with his trademark energy and audacity. However, as the show shifted to other hands, it lost its edge, becoming increasingly moralistic and banal, a pale imitation of the British maestro's distinctive stylistics. MobLand draws comparisons to Ritchie's previous works, inevitably in favor of The Gentleman. While critics praised the cast performances, occasionally highlighted the humor and engaging character dialogue, they were quick to call out the show's reliance on tired stereotypes. It's evident that MobLand isn't trying to be as cheeky or rebellious as Ritchie's earlier projects. Instead, it struggles to carve out a unique identity, especially when The Gentleman made such a bold statement. The result feels lackluster and unremarkable. Apart from a few standout performances and a rocking track by Fontaine's DC, there's little here that feels fresh. Without having seen the middle and final episodes, it's hard to gauge how MobLand will hold up as a whole. So far, it lacks the scale or cultural significance to stand out. While the stellar cast offers potential, there are already doubts about whether the story can truly take shape. Tom Hardy elevates the show, making it worth a watch, but the overuse of Ritchie-esque crime world cliches, laid on thick and in excessive doses, quickly becomes grating. The criminal gents are still partial to blondes, fine tweed suits, and a good scotch, resolving their issues with brute force when necessary. The tension saturating London's criminal underworld is tempered with a distinctly British sense of humor. Meanwhile, the fixer dutifully cleans up his boss's bloody messes without asking too many questions. Tom Hardy, here not only the weary-faced protagonist grappling with marital issues, but also a producer, doesn't break new ground. Instead, he leans on classic archetypes, a problem solver like Mr. Wolf from Pulp Fiction, or an advisor like Michael Fassbender's character in Ridley Scott's The Counselor. A dependable right-hand man tasked with serving the gangland elite. The show's creators stick to familiar beats. Men are tough, women are scheming, problems come with bloodstains and gunpowder, and the satire is snarky and unexpected. However, Guy Ritchie, the marquee name behind the project, makes an uncharacteristic misstep by failing to reinvent the genre in which he's so clearly at home. Following the sharp wit of The Gentleman and the grim severity of Wrath of Man, Ritchie seems stuck between irony and tragedy. It's hard to empathize with the morally bankrupt characters of MobLand, unlike the protagonists in mentioned Wrath of Man or The Covenant, who at least elicited some sympathy. Nor does the show provide much to laugh about, as Ritchie's Snatch or Two Smoking Barrels once did. Unoriginal MobLand feels hastily assembled and uninspired, not just under the eternal sun, but beneath London's perpetually gray skies. The characters are one-dimensional, the jokes fall flat, the dialogue feels recycled, and the rare moments of tension rely heavily on background tracks like Prodigy's timeless Firestarter. But even this burst of energy fades quickly. Once the hard-hitting techno dies down, it leaves a deafening void in its place. No matter how much the cliched characters scramble on screen, the result is little more than tedious noise. The series starts with a long wind-up, promising much to its audience. But ultimately, it doesn't just miss the mark, it fails to fire altogether. With its weekly release schedule, there's little motivation to anticipate the next episode, as it adds nothing new or impactful. For a project boasting such a stellar lineup, this is a disappointingly lackluster verdict.